we use every sail on board in tricky wind conditions heading north from Cape Upstart and meet some friendly whales along the way. With a reasonable weather forecast, we anchor at Cape Bowling Green despite its rolly reputation. But of course the forecast proves to be wrong and we have a very bumpy time on anchor, then a lumpy sail to Magnetic Island. And just to cap things off, Karen saves the day with a great meal totally out of the pantry after a disaster in Our Galley.
Good morning, everyone. Well, it is Sunday morning. It is, I think. Yep, it is Sunday morning. We normally have bacon and eggs. Lucky we had bacon and eggs yesterday because we're bugging on out of here. Well, as you can see, this is the swell we're getting in the anchorage here at Cape Upstart. We actually did have this yesterday as well, and it persisted through the day, but it died down at about 4 o'clock and we had a beautiful still night. But it has come back. It's a southwesterly and it is good sailing weather to go north.
Get on course and see what wind angle we've got.
Yep. And bring it around, babe.
Not too bad.
What size spoon have we got on, Rob?
We got the big one on. We're going for the big guns.
We want a Spaniard today, huh?
We want a Spanish Mac today, if we can manage it. Around Cape Bowling Green though, it's known for sailfish and small marlin. That could be fun.
Absolutely.
Hell of a lot of fun.
Under full sail, trying to reverse back onto a marlin or a sailfish.
Yeah, we're doing 6.5 knots at the moment and you can't stop the boat. So I might get
can.
If we get a decent fish, I might get a workout. Goodbye, Cape Upstart.
It has been a lovely stay other than yesterday's bumpy anchorage.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad, it was just annoying.
Very annoying.
Onwards to Cape Bowling Green.
It's affectionately known as Cape Rolling Green because every time you anchor there, all you do is roll. We have normally sailed right on by, but this time we're going to actually give it a go.
Yeah, it's supposed to be very small swell and light wind tonight, so we'll give it a shot.
What have we got to lose?
A night's sleep.
And just when you get the spinnaker all set up, the wind fills in again and it comes more forward and we're sailing along quite nicely and the Yankee is holding shape again really well.
When the wind came around to 90 degrees, we popped the staysail out because it would have provided us a little boost on the inside of the Jenny. And no sooner has it unfurled than the wind's gone back behind us again. So we'll wait a couple of minutes and see what happens with the wind, but otherwise we'll just have to furl her away again so that she's not blanketing the Yankee.
The wind continued to ease, so back out came the spinnaker.
constant thing, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's the thing with kites. When the wind's a bit variable, as we have, quite variable in actual fact.
With a lot of tweaking, we managed to get along pretty nicely for about another hour. But then, the wind just gave up on us.
Now the spinnaker goes away. We really have no other sails to try today, other than the iron one. Well, it's all happening. We've just dropped the spinnaker, turned the engine on, and vroom, we have a fish on. And she looks a good size, Rob. Yeah, you're probably right. It's probably a wolf herring. Where there's wolf herrings, there is definitely mackerel. Mackerel love eating these things.
Not a wolf herring.
It's not a wolf herring?
No.
Oh, it is a mac. Oh, nice one, and a good size too. Oh, don't you do a rich on us? Towel, towel. There goes the rum.
And a very, very
Nice size.
placid fish. Got some whales, breaching in the distance in front of us. Mama's coming this way. We are anchored behind Cape Bowling Green, and despite its reputation as being Cape Rolling Green, as a very rolly anchorage, right at the moment it's very calm. That's the good news. Sandspit that wraps right around. And there's the setting sun over Cape Cleveland, with Magnetic Island just the other side of it. That's our destination tomorrow. This is the view looking south, and if the forecast is to be believed, around about 3 AM tomorrow morning we're going to have 12 knots of wind blowing straight across the bay from that direction. So kind of thinking that it's not going to be quite as calm as this, but the good news is that that wind should keep up through to mid-afternoon, get up to about 16 knots, and that will give us a good sail to Magnetic Island. That's the theory anyway, but it could be interesting tonight in the dark as that wind arrives.
12 knots? Yeah, right. Try 20 to 25 from the southwest. after a really uncomfortable night. We just couldn't wait to get the anchor up.
Muddy now, and this is a test for the shoulder today.
Yeah, so I'll get you off there as soon as I can.
Handle this. Yeah. Watch. Hold. Whoa! Shearing, mate.
All that, I need some water.
Great start this morning.
I wouldn't call it a great start. We've had some fun and games in this very bouncy water. We're very shallow. Well, even now we're out in the deep water. It's 13 metres.
So there's a fair bit of chop as well as a short, sharp
20,
swell, isn't there?
yeah, 20 to 25 knots. And we were anchored, well, low tide this morning, we were sitting there in 2.3 metres. So it had all of the bay to build fetch, and it certainly did. So we waited until it was well and truly light for safety. Now we're out, we've got the staysail out, and we've got a reefed main, and we're heading for magnetic. We've still got the engine on at the moment while we get everything settled down. But seeing we're doing 7.3 knots at very low RPM, I don't think we'll need it on for long.
Definitely not.
But I did want to put a bit more charge in the batteries anyway after overnight, just to make sure we've got plenty of power for the auto helm if we get to use it.
Yeah, I'm not sure the boys, Jim and Jerry, are going to handle this too well.
The wind is predicted to drop out, but it was never predicted to be this strong anyway. It was supposed to be like 12 knots at 3 a.m. and it came in at about 18 knots at 11 p.m.
Consistently built, hasn't it?
and it blew all night. So it is what it is. Not every day is calm sailing paradise.
Hey, sometimes we've got to earn our keep, don't we?
Yeah. We've now reached the tip of Cape Cleveland, and there's the lighthouse, and the wind has just disappeared. We've had to put the motor on to get past it. The sails are actually bank-sided. The only wind is what we're making by motoring into it. Not going to bother touching the sails until we find out what happens when we get around this cape and we get the wind across from Townsville. Then we'll find out what the true wind really is. I really must remember to take the bung out of the dinghy when we've got rough weather. Well, we've now cleared the cape and there is no wind. That's the reality. We've centered the main, put away the staysail, and the only wind we've got coming across the deck is what we're making by motoring into it. It's as if somebody just turned off the switch on the big fan. So is this what you expected when we rounded Cape Cleveland?
No, we have had the shittiest morning. And then, what's happening? It's just unbelievable, isn't it, that this can happen? We kept looking at the weather forecast at Cape Cleveland, saying they must be lying. They kept saying, oh, it's 7 knots, south-southwest. Couldn't be, we've got 25 knots out here. It's not even 7 knots anymore. It's nothing. Well, we had a bit of a, problem in our galley this afternoon. We've been trying to look after our power supply by turning our fridge off whilst we're not opening and closing it. But I defrosted some chicken yesterday, and of course the chicken hasn't really liked the fridge not being on the full time. So I pulled it out for dinner tonight, and hey presto, it's not smelling the best. I hate wasting food. So my go-to with this is a mushroom risotto. My mushroom risotto just is everything from the pantry. Dehydrated mushrooms, a number of different types. So I've got our straw mushrooms there, I've got our button mushrooms in there, I've got a lovely stock over here which has been made up from the mushrooms and some chicken stock which has been brought to the boil, risotto and some dried herbs, and hopefully it's a great meal. Something therapeutic about stirring risotto, especially when you're in a bad mood. Sort of really gets all of that anger out, doesn't it? Just stirring away. And by the time this is finished, I'll be quite happy with the meal that I've made. But still dirty that I've wasted some food on our galley. But nevertheless. So all things are good in our galley once again, and the final touch is grating that beautiful Parmesan cheese, which is probably the only fresh ingredient that's in here, which was bought in Brisbane, and this is the last of it. So we're 4 months down the track. It gets used quite a lot, but it will be a lovely meal. Beautiful, creamy mushroom risotto. Not bad for a meal that we weren't going to have.
If you're enjoying our videos, please make sure you give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. It really does help us with YouTube to reach more people. If you also hit the bell button, you'll be notified each time we release a new episode. Come sail with us again soon.